title race, one man who completely understands what it takes to win major silverware at the City Ground is European Cup winner Frank Clark, and he joins the show now. Morning, Frank.
Good morning, Frank.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali. How are you both?
Well,
great form,
very
Frank.
good. Great to
form.
talk to you, Frank, as well. Let's get right down to the nitty gritty of it. Do you think Forest are in the title race?
Well, listen, they have to be contenders because of the number of points that they've got already, and it's fine. It's wonderful, you know. The supporters are dreaming, and that's good. The players are really happy. They're singing and dancing after every win, and I like it when Nuno comes out of the dressing room and with his feet planted firmly on the ground and says, "I'm thinking about the next game." I love that approach.
Absolutely, Frank. And Jeff and I watched the game last night, and the one overriding factor that we thought when we watched the game, we were watching a proper team. You know, there was no individual superstars. They were all in it together, and you just saw it. When the big fella scored the last goal, they were all absolutely delighted for him. Solid defensively, good in the middle of the park, and they've got a lot of pace, and they've got goals, obviously. I mean, it's a real team effort this year.
Yeah, it is, yes. They've got a good squad together. Whoever's been in charge of recruitment for the last 18 months or so has done a great job. I have no idea who it is because they've appointed so many people in executive positions recently. It's hard to tell, but they've done a great job. They've brought some really good players in. And it's a team. They've got a good squad, and they're all in it together. I mean, I thought that thing with Awani last night was terrific.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't it great?
Yeah. The way they all ran to him.
No, it was brilliant, especially bearing in mind, in terms of the game, it was a goal that didn't matter, but it mattered to him, but it just showed that togetherness, didn't it, when they absolutely mobbed him when he scored the goal. Brilliant. And I'll tell you what, Frank, having Forest in the mix at the moment, that's what makes the Premier League great, isn't it? That it's not the same old, it's something different.
This season it's quite unusual in a way. I mean, Fulham and Brighton and Brentford, all battling away to get into that top 6 or 7. Listen, the Premier League is relentless, and I've heard you talking that our next game is against Liverpool. That kind of brings you back down to earth a little bit.
We talk about getting brought back down to earth a little bit, Frank. There's nobody, as you touched on earlier, there's nobody doing that better than the manager. Nuno has been, he's playing a blinder on and off the pitch, isn't he, so far?
Oh, you're absolutely right. Everything he does recently turns to gold. His team selections, his tactical setups, his substitutions, everyone he makes is paying off for him. It's amazing, and he's obviously the one who's garnered this great team spirit in the dressing room.
One of the great things I think about Forest this season, Frank, is that they defend like a proper old school team. I mean, you'd have liked to have played for this Forest side.
Well, as long as they didn't ask me to be a wing back, it'd have been okay, Jeff. I wouldn't have fancied running up and down the left wing. But I know what you mean. They do, and they've got they've got proper centre backs.
Yeah.
Milenkovic, Murillo. And Morato, who we've not seen a lot of, but every time he comes on, he does a great job for them. They're all proper, what I call proper defenders. When the ball gets tossed into the box, they love to come and head it away.
Frank, I'm just thinking about how well they're doing in upcoming games. If somebody said to a Forest fan at the start of the season, we've got an opportunity coming up next week to beat Liverpool home and away, I mean, they'd have been thought you were talking madness. Absolutely,
that's one of the lovely things about this. All right, it might not last till the end of the season, but it's giving the supporters a chance to dream about Europe, and they've not had that for a long, long time.
Quick word on one of your other clubs, Frank. Newcastle, big night coming up for them this evening. How important is it for Newcastle United to pick up a trophy this season? I mean, last for the League Cup.
It is important, you get a monkey off their back, really. Everybody keeps saying it. They haven't won a domestic trophy since 1955. So that would be a real big thing for the club. It would be great for Eddie. I'm a great supporter of Eddie. I think he's done a great job up there. And hopefully they can this season.
Talking about supporter Eddie, I was at the game, Frank, at the weekend there, the Tottenham game. unbelievable support Newcastle brought down again. I mean, there was thousands of them there. You just actually, even if you're a neutral, you couldn't begrudge them getting a cup final and perhaps winning something.
Yeah, I think the neutrals think that way, Ali. A lot of people don't, but the support is incredible. You know, when they're at home, 50-odd thousand in there every week, and they go away and they fill whichever away end they're in. It's marvellous for the club.
Yeah, they are different class, Frank. You know that better than most. Frank, thanks very much for joining us.
Lovely to talk, Frank.
Always a pleasure to talk to you both.
Good lad. Cheers, mate.
Care, Frank.
Okay, bye.
Let's hear from a Nottingham Forest fan. He's a long-distance Nottingham Forest fan because he's down in New Zealand. Heath is the Forest fan. Good morning, Heath.
Good morning,
well, I'm
Heath.
not sure if it is morning there or not.
Good evening, gents. How's it going?
Yeah,
We're
it's
doing
going
well,
good,
mate. First thing we've got to ask you, why Forest in New Zealand? Is it the obvious reason?
I mean, so I guess back in the glory days, my uncle supported Nottingham Forest, you know, Brian Clough, and so he used to get sent the football magazines across that was just, you know, full of Nottingham Forest, articles, and so he kind of taught me the history behind the club. I'm only 33. So growing up, I always supported Forest, and all of my friends were supporting Man United and Liverpool and Arsenal. So everybody was like, "Mate, who are you?" And now I can, you know, turn around and say, "Who am I?"
Absolutely, and you've got the added bonus you centre forward as well, who's in fire.
Oh, it's just honestly, it is Dreamland stuff. So a bit of a quick story. I actually played against Chris Wood at the back in the youth leagues in New Zealand, and in 2016 I flew across for my first ever overseas trip. I went to Nottingham to watch Forest play, and Chris Wood happened to be playing for Leeds that game, and we beat them. So he was part of my first City Ground experience.
Wow.
You fast forward 5 or 6 years, he's now playing for my childhood club that I love. So it's kind of a bit of a full circle moment for me, which I'm absolutely loving.
Brilliant. I'm glad you're loving it, Heath. Thanks very much indeed
Well
for
done,
the call.
mate. Thanks for the call.
Very quick text. I knew that Ned Kelly and Inverness would stir the hornet's nest re West Ham. Kevin Sugru says, "You never read my texts, but here's another one you won't broadcast." Well, there you go, Kevin. There's a first time for everything. Is that imbecile from Inverness? I think you mean Ned Kelly. A West Ham season ticket holder who's been so bored by Moyes football that he dreaded going to the next match. The test for the supporter of any Premier League team before criticising West Ham for wanting Moyes out is, do you want him as manager of your team? No, not unless you're in desperate relegation trouble.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.